Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Bristol Flyers Podcast. I am Joel Osborne. He is Sam Hardy.
Hello.
And Sam, this week, last week our podcast overran with Malcolm Delpesh. We went for like an hour long on the podcast, and I've got to tell you, I've got a confession to make.
What's the confession?
We have overrun on our podcast providing system, so we have to now pay for every new episode we do this month. So I know Alistair listens to the podcast. He's our financial controller for Bristol Flyers. Alistair, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to get a invoice. Not too much, just a little bit. We ran over just a little bit this month, so if you didn't know, now you know. So expect that coming through, in the next few weeks.
I've actually got Alistair in my ear right now. He's saying that's coming out of your wage packet next month, Joe, I'm afraid, mate. So
there we go. I mean, there was a good chat with Malcolm last week, wasn't it? We just overran just a little bit too much. Don't worry, we've got a full-length episode for you this week. We're not going to cut this one short. And joining us this week is none other than Bristol's very own Corey Samuels. Corey, how are we doing?
I'm all good. What's up? You right?
Yeah, really good. It's good to have you on the podcast. You've just come from an Ambassadors Project this morning, haven't you?
Yeah.
Talking in schools.
Yeah, I was at Barley Close this morning, so yeah, that was pretty cool. It was a fun day.
Yeah.
Fun start, yeah.
We'll get on to some of that in a bit more detail about the kind of stuff you do in those ambassador talks a bit later on. Am I right in thinking you've also got a UE game this evening for...
Yeah, we got Southampton today at 5, so yeah, trying to get back in the win column after last week for sure.
Yeah, I mean, busy schedule. I don't think people really realise how busy these players are in their spare time. You know, it's not just training and then games. There's some players play for UE, some players study, some players are out doing stuff in the community, half-term holiday camps, etc. There's so much going on.
And obviously you got time for gaming as well, right? Really important.
Me gaming, nah, I don't even touch that stuff. I don't go near it.
Good man.
Corey, this is your second year of studying at UE, is that right? Your second season? What is it you study at UE?
Business and human resource management.
Yeah. Is that something you kind of would want to go into life after basketball?
Yeah, nah, definitely. Obviously, the title sounds boring, innit? But the actual subject, I actually enjoy studying it, so that's the plan B.
That's awesome. I was just we were chatting to Malcolm last week on the podcast, and we were talking about some of the highlights that were coming out of the UE Jets Instagram account right now.
Yeah.
And some of those ridiculously bouncy plays from yourself in particular. I think I saw a putback dunk.
Yeah, that was the last home game.
When are we going to see this in the BBL, Corey?
I know. There was a time, what was it? There was 2 times this season. There was the game I had the tip in. As soon as I landed and I got the foul, I was like, man, I really could have just dunked that. And then my boys was messaging like, oh, why don't you dunk it? I was like, oh, man. And then last game I drove and then I dished it to Leslie, but I turned it over straight after. I was like, why don't I just dunk it? It was like, I'm not going to say the player's name, but it was an unathletic player that was guarding me. So I was like, I could have dunked it really. But
which game was that?
That was against the Caledonia Gladiators.
Yeah. How hard is it to not say Glasgow Rocks?
Yeah, I was literally just going to say it. I just almost
I do it all the time. I always say, I think I said it twice in the broadcast last week. I said Glasgow Rocks instead of Caledonia Gladiators. I also got a shout out on the Sunday Night Breakdown podcast for calling them Caledonia Glads. Did you? Did you listen to the podcast? It wasn't flying with them. They weren't a fan of the Caledonia Glads, but I think it's going to stick. I'm a big fan.
You're going to start calling them the Gladidonia something soon, aren't you?
The Gladidonia Alligators.
Yeah. Going back to your UE play, I mentioned it last week with Matt, but your dirty little mismatch, shoot the 3 in the face. That's naughty, isn't it?
Nah, I had to. I was gonna, because you run the play and then you see the next action. I almost did. I was like, wait a second. I got like a big slow guy on me and it was like, give me that thing back, let me do something in it. That's where we have fun in it. Yeah. As you can see, we just have fun with you in it.
Yeah. Well, we also see you in the warm-ups for Bristol Flyers, really getting up there. Is that something you've been working on in your off-season, sort of working on your vert and your like plyometric training and things like that?
Kind of. Really, I've been trying to more do like the rehab stuff for my like knees and patellas and all that stuff. And I think just as a result of resting my knees over the summer, and then also doing those exercises, when you come to season, you just get like all this extra bounce. And when the crowd's like full and they're like doing oohs and ahs and that, you just get gas and then you just think, yeah, let me try something crazy. Like I tried a couple of East Bays, which didn't work, but you just try the craziest stuff you can think of, innit?
Right, that's absolutely bonkers. I know at the start of the season you do S&C like testing with Rich. You do things like your quickness, your vertical jump. Do you know what your vertical jump is right now?
No, I actually don't, and I really want to check it. Like the most recent like accurate test I did was like the thing, you know, you slap the thing.
Yeah.
It's got the little like, spikes on it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I done that in my 3rd year of college, and I touched like 11 feet 3 inches. So I want to like test it compared to that, because it must be higher than that now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
11 feet.
That's actually
3 inches.
And how tall are you, Corey?
I'm 6'1" listed.
Listed as 6 foot. So that means 6 foot. Is that? we practiced with Giovanni the other week on the podcast. He said he was 6'1", and Coach K busted the myth, and he's actually 6 foot. So
yeah, well, you know, I'll let you read between the lines on that one.
He's 6'1" with his heels on, all right, Joe.
Yeah, with the Jordans on, he gets adds the extra inch, doesn't it?
Who's got the biggest bounce in the team this year? Do you think?
Oh, that's easy. It's got to be Tevin. I think Mike's is either Tevin or Mike, but Mike doesn't really get up as much in warm-ups, innit? Tevin does crazy stuff, like, before we've even stretched, and you know you come out and do the light layups, Tevin be throwing up and doing windmills, and that is like, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say Tevin's like low-key very bouncy, but obviously we noticed quite a lot with Mike last year. Like, I think he was like leading the league as a guard in offensive rebounds, like all that, like just because he's like out jumping players like half the time to grab those offensive rebounds. So Mike Miller also, I think, has some low key bounce in him.
I want to see Tevin jam on someone there. That's what I want to see.
Do you remember that play where he was on a break and he laid it up? He got his head to like the backboard and then laid it up. Do you remember? I was like, what are you doing? Just dunk it, innit?
That's a flex. You lay up and then hit your head on the backboard.
Yeah.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
Corey, we you got a lot of love on Twitter the other week for your visit to Filton Primary School.
Oh, yeah.
You did, I think the school tweeted to thank you for coming in. Was that part of your Ambassador Project work? Yeah,
so that was like the very first visit, actually. And that was sick. Like, it couldn't have been at like a bit, well, let me not say that, but because all the other schools in it, but like that was a really good school to like start on. I think they was like all well prepared, all enthusiastic. Like the head was enjoying it more than the kids, really. But it was sick. Yeah.
So what sort of things are you going in and talking to the kids about when you're going into these school visits? What are the topics of conversation?
So it's all like based around my story kind of thing, but then it's all it's like related to basketball, but then we kind of like trying to incorporate other things. So like the fact that I study and like other things that are important to me, and I think like the goal, and obviously it's a process of how we do it and how we do it like well, but the goal is to kind of, I guess, like open up different possibilities or ways of thinking about what you can do to like kids like from a young age. Because like me, like growing up, I think it was either just like, just straight basketball. I wasn't caring about nothing else till about like 3 years ago type thing. But like try and open them up to like, I can actually do this if I want. I can do that type thing. And like also the importance of like actual education as well is like still important.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like you must find that really rewarding. Like how much are you enjoying it? How rewarding are you finding it? Because I imagine you were quite in a similar situation yourself, being a kid growing up in Bristol and looking up to people at the Flyers team at the time as well. Yeah,
it's a pretty cool feeling and like thing to be like a part of, because obviously, like, you come in and all these kids, like, you show them the little promo videos at the start, and they're like, their faces like beaming. They're like, wow, oh my. And it's like, obviously, you can relate to that, innit? But it's cool to be able to kind of like bring a bit of that light into that school type thing. And just seeing their reactions and just playing with them at like playtime and stuff like that is just fun, innit? Like them kids come out with funny stuff like every 3 minutes, so it's pretty funny.
That school's actually a school that my wife taught in for 5 years, and she still knows some of the teachers there. And like they were talking about it afterwards, and they were all so buzzed about you going in.
Really?
Yes. What's the name of the head teacher? I forgot.
Steve Povey.
I didn't go across that. Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, that they genuinely were saying such high things about you, man. So that was really cool.
Yeah, nice. Sick.
Yeah, that's really cool. cool. It's not often that we see, a Bristol-born player come up through all the junior age groups at the club and then, into the first team. I know you had that spell away in Italy for a little while and that spell at Myerscough as well. But, you're on a very unique group of players. I think it's yourself, Josh Rogers and Greg Street and now Louis Tucker as well, of course, who's come through the pathway and into the first team, but coming up all the way through from a youngster, under 12s level, like that. And when I speak to Coach a lot, he always talks about that's the kind of thing we want to see more of. We want to see the next Greg Street sort of coming through. Like, how much are you sort of seeing that now with like the next generation of players? Are you seeing players in the academy right now that are coming through that we should keep our eyes on? Yeah,
definitely. Like, even just like before and after our practice sessions, looking at the juniors, even if you're not looking for it, you're always going to notice, like, oh, that kid's kind of nice. Or, like, I remember when that kid was, like 5 foot, now he's, like, 6 foot. He's, like, eyeballing me type thing. And he's, like, throwing it down. And, like, yeah, you definitely, like, keep track of who's coming up. And it's pretty good to see, just the development over time. It's good.
I need some names, Corey. Who are the names we're looking out for? Who are the next big players coming through the Flyers player pathway that we should keep an eye on?
There's two that instantly come to mind, and that's Kobe and Corey Hill. Like, those guys been working from young, and it's just funny because, like, I remember, like, helping out a couple Saturday mornings and coaching them there, and they was, like, tiny, and now they're getting older, playing against, like, men in summer. Like, Kobe, he's got, like, a strap on him. Like, I think he had, like, 25 points in his first EABL game this year.
Wow.
And then Corey's, like doing his England stuff, and he's just hooping. Like, again, he's playing with men, and he's in, like, year 10 type thing. So, yeah, them guys they're definitely next up for sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing a photo, actually, because obviously Christian is a volunteer with the club and works with the junior teams as well. And I remember seeing a photo of Greg Street with Corey and Kobe, and then they recreated it, I think, like this past summer when Greg came down to visit for the Matt Bromley game.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they've grown up so much. I remember my first year working, that was when you were really young, I think. My first year working with Flyers.
What was your first year working?
2014 was my official first Bristol 14, sport year. Yeah. So Corey was playing under 14s and I just started working here at Bristol Flyers.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, when you think about like that, like so much time actually has passed, hasn't it? Like, so much has changed, so much has stayed the same. But you can kind of like, I mean, you've seen the club sort of grow really from when they were in start of BBL D1 sort of days, going through all the way up into now BBL, and now you can kind of see the pathway it's going. I bet that, like, how much pride do you kind of see in that as a player who's sort of come from Bristol?
Nah, for me it's massive. Like, I think like my whole like group, like my whole age group was pretty like prideful about the club, because even when like in the Southwest for sure, like, oh, you play for Flyers, or those are the Flyers players. Like, it has, like, a weight to it, you know what I mean? Even when you go outside of the region and stuff, you do, like, national stuff. Guys from, like, other places, they don't know any other, like, teams in the Southwest except for Bristol type thing. So you just have that pride from that, like, to begin with. And then you, like, grow up through the system, and, like, you're diehard fans, like, supporting the BBL teams, like, losing your voice every Saturday night type thing. And it's just something that sticks with you. Like, even on the way back from like the UE game last week, me, Josh, Ebo, and George Varney was just reminiscing about all the different Flyers teams, all the different Flyers players, different guys at under 18s and stuff. Like, it's a big thing. Like, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it sticks with you.
Yeah. So who are the players? Well, what's the when you were under 14s then? So who are the players you were looking up to? Was that like the Greg Streets, the Roy Owens, or was it like back in like NBL Division 1 sort of days?
To be fair, like, it's like, for me it's the whole like stretch. So I'm thinking like Doug, Davis, those guys, Tony Watson, Greg, Ty, Alif Bland, Hamid Ali, like the whole stretch, you know what I mean? Enrique. Like, we're even talking about when, like, Erie, Courtney, and them guys were, like, the young guys on the BBL team and stuff like that.
Well, that was my first year in the academy. Year. So I was the Rob Loftman, Erie,
them guys
sort of year. That was when I was in the academy. So we were talking way back now.
Yeah.
And then we went to UE, didn't we, Sam? And Davis Bone was our coach first year, wasn't he?
Is it?
Yeah, at UE. So while he was playing Flyers, he was also coaching the UE team.
Oh, okay.
So we got that promotion to Western 1A first year. I don't mind it.
You also, every time you get called onto the court, the following you've got as well, it must be your friends, but also it is like people that live in Bristol know that you're from Bristol. Obviously, it's a massive part that we get that sort of like, it's all well and good these Americans coming over and we love them and we think they're amazing, but we still need to be rooted in Bristol, and having guys like you is just so important. So yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah, we have to give a shout out to one player in particular on the junior pathway. Goes on Instagram by JT Vince.
Yeah.
He actually does some. Obviously, he plays in the I think under 14s. I think he plays for at the moment, or is it under 16s now?
16s, I believe.
16s now. So he obviously in his spare time he turns like some of our photos from JMP. He turns them into like minimalistic cartoons, and the players use them as their profile pictures.
So good.
So he did one for I think Trajan Jacob last year. He did one for Lewis Champion a couple of years ago. He's done your current one, Corey, and I believe he's done 3 options for you for this year, right? You're looking at making getting a new profile picture. Is that right?
Yeah. So he gave me 3 different ones, and like because they're all actually very like good in it, and they're all so like clean, so I don't really know like which one to pick. So
well, you've enlisted the help of the right people here, Corey, because on the podcast we can get them up on screen right here. We've got 3 options for you. We've got option A, option B and option C. If you can see those there on your screen, we will be putting a poll up on our Instagram and our Twitter account for you guys to vote for your favourites, and the one with the most votes will be Corey's new profile picture.
They are actually sick. I don't know which one to choose. They're so good.
Do you know what I like? My favourite feature of it, if you look at the socks here, obviously on your phone or whatever, screenshot it, zoom in. I'm wearing my Reddit socks. That's my like favourite pair of socks.
No way.
And you can actually like, he's got the detail down to the Reddit socks. Like one's blue, one's orange. Like it's sick.
Yeah, it does look really awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But Corey, we've actually on the Bristol Flyers podcast, we've done our own digging of ourselves, and we've probably found some images that we think would be better for your profile picture. How about these 2 here on the screen?
Oh my gosh.
Young Corey Samuels. I don't know what age group you would have been here, Corey, but this definitely looks like the start of your Bristol Flyers journey.
Something around that time. Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about these.
Look at them.
Arguably.
Young Corey Samuels. What age group do you reckon you were in here? Is this under 12s?
The white one on the right is under 14s, I believe.
Yeah.
I think I even remember the shoes I was wearing on that day as well. That's the crazy part. But the other picture, I think I must have been like 9 or something, like playing up. Yeah, that's my An ones. Yeah, I was like 9. I was like playing up under 14s on like my brother and like Jake's team and that.
Love them.
It's all about the shoes, right?
Yeah, bro, that just
absolutely.
It's the anchor. But I'm glad you put it out. So my question is, we do the like player announcements and stuff, and like we use them pictures. Like when I'm 30 or whatever, or how old? If I'm 50, like, and I bump into you, you're gonna. This is 100%. Corey Samuels. Here's the two. Do you know what I mean?
100%. These photos.
Look at this picture. Like,
that's the
how
thing.
long are we using them for?
If you're a player just coming through the SGS Basketball Academy, or if you've been in the junior player pathway and there's photos of you, I'm digging them up. I'm digging them up, and we're using them all the time. It's. I think it's just like these photos here epitomise exactly what the club's all about in terms of bringing players in at sort of this kind of age group all the way up through into the senior men's team. And this is like something that kids now in the player pathway under 14s, players like JT Vince can look up to and be like, look, I've seen Corey do this at the kind of gone through the whole journey. I want to do that as well and represent the city. So, and
also that Baden ball was elite, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
Baden
was goated. That's a classic.
Yeah, well, the good thing is now, Corey, you've got a jersey that actually fits you now. Because I don't think any of those jerseys actually fit you.
Nah, you're right about that.
Sam, should we get to our quick fire questions segment here on the Bristol Flyers podcast? So, Corey, we every guest we get on the podcast, we ask them a series of quick fire questions about themselves, in as many as you can in 30 seconds. We had Malcolm Delpesh on the podcast last week. His score to beat was 7. Leslie Smith scored 5, so that you can't go lower than 5 because that was.
I saw that. That was painful. I was like, bro, just say an answer. It doesn't even have to be true.
Just needed anything. I think we did a rehearsal with our producer Ed. I think he got 11. Was it 11? Yeah. So 11 is the one to beat from our producer Ed there.
Okay.
Sam, should we get the lights down low for our quick fire segment?
How long do you get for this quick fire?
You get 30 seconds,
Okay.
yeah. Don't you worry. You get 30 seconds. So 30 seconds, Corey, to answer as many questions about yourself, starting from now. Who is your favourite musical artist of all time?
Drake.
Who is the best player you've played against in your career?
Crandall, whoever.
What is your karaoke song of choice?
Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance.
What NBA players most influenced your game?
Lance Stevenson, I don't know.
Favourite TV show?
Everybody hates Chris.
MJ or LeBron?
LeBron.
Who's the one player on the team with the worst fashion sense?
Pasquale.
What is your favourite song to listen to right now?
Praise God, I don't know.
That is 7.
8.
Is it 8?
That's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So
Yeah,
you
I'll
just
take
beat
that.
Malcolm Delpeche by a single point. So,
I'll take that.
There we go. I'm gonna have to hear some of his. I'm gonna have to hear some of his karaoke at some point. Do you ever make new players do like initiations, like karaoke songs or anything like that when they join the club?
Nah, we won't do initiations, but it will comes out eventually on the coach or something in the changing room. You'll hear it at some point.
That's it. We need to get some more initiatives. We never really hazed the new players as much as I kind of would like the players to haze them, but maybe we can get that going.
Get some stuff going.
Yeah, get that going at some. Make them carry the water bottles or something like that.
Yeah.
Rugby teams always do really, really, really grim stuff, so maybe not quite that far.
No.
But
I remember at UE
Nowhere
we used
near.
to do some ones for our basketball team for our freshers. We used to haze them quite badly, didn't we?
Or like the naked mile. You know that-
We didn't do that one. But Sam, let's get to this week's news from around the BBL.
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
All right, time to get up to scratch with this week's news.
Yep.
And the first bit of news, not necessarily BBL related, but got to give a massive shout out to former Bristol Flyers guard Brandon Boggs. Yesterday, he was announced the new junior varsity coach at Greenville High School.
Was that the school he went to?
I'm not sure if it's the one he went to. I mean, he's obviously from Greenville, North Carolina. So, now he's stopped playing in his pro career for the last couple of years or so. It's good to see him making the next step into his basketball career. Corey, I don't think you played with Brandon Boggs on the same team, did you?
No, I was training on the team that he was on.
Yeah. So it's good to. I mean, he's obviously moved on to the next step. Maybe we can get him on the podcast at some point.
Oh, he was so. I love
Get him to
Boggs.
dial in or something like that at some
Got
point
to.
in the off season or something like that. Would be really good.
Yeah, we 100%. He was so good. I was a big fan of Boggs.
Yeah, 63 appearances for the Flyers between 2016 and 2018. He averaged 12.5 points a game. And then cool time in his pro career at the end of last season. So many congratulations to Brandon on your new role as head coach at Greenville High School junior varsity team. Other news around the league, we've got some signing news to rattle through really quickly. Surrey Scorchers have re-signed Quincy Taylor for his third spell at the club. He's previously played for them in 2016 and 2018, so third time around. You don't often see a player come back for a third spell with the team.
No. When did he sign? This week, literally.
Yeah, it was literally this week. He had his first game on Sunday, I think it was.
Do you have stats for him or not?
I don't have his stats in my hand, unfortunately. You put me on the spot there with that one. Brilliant.
Sorry, mate.
But we've got more signing news to bash through real quickly. Newcastle Eagles, more changes at the Newcastle Eagles. They've brought in American forward Justin Everett. They've released Leslie Varner in the process. Obviously, I've seen a lot of comments online about this like revolving door at Newcastle, but it is like part of the business, isn't it? Like, I think with the Americans, you only get up to 5 Americans per team. There's a probation period, I imagine, in their contracts. They get a certain number of games to show what they're made of, and if they're not up to scratch or not fitting into the system the way that coach would have wanted to, it's a business at the end of the day. They're in their right to make a change, but just more changes this year for Newcastle than I imagine they would have expected.
We've grown up obviously in England where the sort of contract talks in football and all the rest of it are much like sort of harder to break, but if you watch a film like Moneyball, you see these players like dropped in American sports like anything, don't you, and just moved on to different teams and cities and the rest of it. So yeah, same can happen here, unfortunately, but that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the BBL. I've got a rant to make, by the way. I've got a rant. Last week I had my rant about player signings. I've got another rant to make this week. Are you ready for it?
I need to make a sound that's like Joel's rant of the week.
Well, that could be the sound. We just pick that bit up and you just play it on the soundboard.
Let's do it one more time so that we can get this ready, Joel's rant of the week.
There we go. I've got to call out Cheshire Phoenix here.
What have they done now, Joel?
Cheshire Phoenix. So I was looking on at your social media feed last week. You guys played Surrey Scorchers away from home, and there was one post on game day on Twitter for the game day post. The next post after that was a retweet from BBL, the halftime score. The next post after that was a retweet of the final score. Zero content, nothing, no player interviews, no highlights, no nothing on the Cheshire Phoenix social media channels. So I'm calling them out. And I know it's tough. I know it's tough to cover away games because maybe you can't travel or anything like that. But we have put places, centrally at the league, there are stuff that has been put in place for clubs to cover their teams remotely as well. So that's not an excuse. And we do also share photographs. So if you need photographs of any away games, the home club is there to provide them for you. So there's no excuses. That is my rant of the week. Cheshire Phoenix, let's do better. We want to rank up the level we're talking here with the BBL. And 3 posts on a game day is just not good enough.
And that's the end of Joel's rant of the week.
There we go. Last bit of news you've got to cover through, Corey. We kind of want to brush over this a little bit, but obviously not the best weekend last weekend. 2 defeats, Leicester Riders and Caledonia Gladiators. I know we were short-handed for both games, but what did you make of the 2 games at the weekend?
Obviously, like you said, we were short-handed, but we know as a team and what we're capable of, regardless of who's kitting up on that day and who's feeling what. We can't really make excuses for it. It just was a bad weekend. But we're moving on in the middle of a good week of practice. Looking forward to Friday and Sunday, rather. But yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how practice has been going. Have you guys all managed to get back together on the court? Has it been going well? What's it been like in training?
Yeah, well, we just kind of had a little talk about the game and stuff and kind of not swept under the rug. We kind of dealt with the issues and we're working on what's been going on. But no one's we're not trying to stay down in the dumps type thing. We're just moving on with things, keeping positive and just getting better, really. That's what you can do.
Yeah. I have to talk about your game on Saturday because, of course, I know injuries are part of the sport, but it does give players like yourself a chance to move up into the starting lineup. You started both games at the weekend, and on Saturday against Caledonia Glads, you had 13 points and 5 rebounds. That must have been a big confidence boost for yourself. What were you feeling out there on the court that allowed you to play with so much confidence?
I think it's a good question. Why was I feeling confident? I don't know. I was just feeling good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like last year, I would kind of get in my head about things at times, but this year I'm just playing more free, not making it a big deal type thing, and just trying to take what's given to me by the defense and just do my thing really, and then things is just working. The ball is going in the basket, so can't really complain.
Yeah, that's it. I think you guys. When you get the opportunity to show yourself, and you do get the opportunity at this club, if players are injured and stuff, players will move up, especially Bristol players. We've seen Bristol players come into the squad when we're short on numbers and things like that. And if you're good enough and you get the opportunity and then you go out there and do it, it's just great to see. So that was awesome. Recently, we've just started commentating from down courtside this year for our home games. I've noticed one thing I've noticed is the conversations that are happening down on courtside. You kind of have your one headphone off like this, and you kind of can listen to some of the conversations that are happening. Notes. Yeah, you kind of hear what coach is saying if he's calling out a certain play. There was one thing that was coach was let's go 2 for 1, let's go 2 for 1. And on commentary I was Flyers can go 2 for 1 here. Do you know what I mean? So little things like that you can kind of pick up on, when you're up top it's you can't really pick up on that kind of stuff. But one thing I have noticed is some of the conversations that you have with players on the court. Yeah. I've noticed you're a very vocal player out there on the floor.
Yeah, I think I've always been vocal from when I was young. And that's, to be honest, that's because of Flyers. When you're in the basketball performance center, getting better and stuff, you're 10 years old. They put you in that grid, and then you're shouting boo boo boo, all that stuff. So I think I just started talking from there, innit? Yeah. And then I got to the age. I think I was I was probably 13, 14. I was pretty old at this point, relatively. And guy was just to me, you gotta just stop, just saying boo, help the now. You gotta be purposeful with your talk, innit? But yeah.
So what about the trash talk? I mean, are you quite a big trash talker out there on the court?
Am I a trash talker? It depends how I'm feeling on the day.
Yes is the answer to that question. I've definitely heard some trash bits from Corey Samuels in like conversations. That was a nice little tee up there.
Yeah.
What kind of? I need to hear like what kind of. Obviously PG here on the podcast.
I'm always PG, you know me, Joe.
What kind of things are you when you're guarding a player? Like when you're talking trash at them, what kind of things are you talking about? Are you picking up on certain things they're doing, or are you looking at their like how many shots they're missing, or things like that? Or what sort of things are you bringing up when you're talking trash to a player?
Do you know what? I'm not the type of guy to say, oh, you're shooting 2 for 5 right now or something. But I'll just like, well, maybe like here and there, innit? Like, if someone's like shooting free throws or something, and obviously it's like a bad free throw shooter, and they miss the first one, you just over exaggerate. Good foul, great foul, in fact, good job. But then I prefer to instigate in other ways, innit?
What kind of other ways are we talking?
I don't want to give out all my tricks, but I might instigate something, and that will incite someone else to say something to me, and then I'll just kind of keep it going from there, type thing.
Yeah.
Like certain players, like in particular, like I feel like we kind of have that clash like every game type thing, and I'm not just gonna like last year I was like, oh, I don't want to, because I was like, I don't know, 11th man or whatever. I don't want to be that guy, and then everyone's like, why is this guy talking? Yeah. But then you just got to just bring that same energy like every day, really. Yeah. So.
I don't want to name names, but Plymouth City Patriots is always a tasty matchup. You know, Antonio Williams, Rashad Hassan. Well, I think last season I saw you like had them on strings a little bit. They were chomping at everything you were doing, and it got a bit testy, didn't it?
But it makes it fun, innit? Like with me, I always think like we play basketball because it's fun. Yeah. So if I'm gonna do something that's even more fun, like you can't fault me in it. And like I don't do nothing that's like dirty or, you know what I mean? Like it's all within the lines and that, you know, you're just having a laugh, really.
So would you say you're the biggest trash talker on the team? Or is there anyone that talks more than you?
Well, Tevin just talks like constantly. We got funny guys on the team, innit? Tevin just talks constantly. Like I'll be like just like making a pass or something. I hear Tevin talking to himself or something. Brandon's just laughing. Like there's times like if you actually look in and look at Brandon, it's funny. Like he'll be dribbling and he'll be smiling. Like I don't know if he knows he does it, but he'll be smiling and laughing as he's dribbling and shooting in your face type thing.
We need to get a mixtape of all of the times that he's smiling and doing something like that.
Bro, get Brandon mic'd up. I'm telling you, bro. The stuff that you will see in here, like, nah, we're just different guys in it. Like, you got a funny team.
I think I'd do loads of. I'd go on their social media and research their family and stuff and say trash talk about them.
It would be outrageous.
I know.
That's MJ level trash talk, like Kobe, like psycho trash talk type thing.
Well, I keep it all clean though. Corey keeps it clean on the Bristol Flyers podcast.
I think that's the only time you can ever compare me to Kobe or MJ.
2 big games this weekend. Caledonia Gladiators once again at the SGS Boys campus on Friday. There are still tickets for that one, but the game on Sunday against London Lions, that one's now sold out. So if you wanted to get tickets for that, you're too late. But you can still get tickets for Caledonia Gladiators. They are on sale. We're down to our last 40, I think it is. There's no seats available. They're standing only, unfortunately. But if you want to stand on a balcony, you are more than welcome to do so at bristolflyers.co.uk. Bristol Flyers versus Caledonia Gladiators.
We got to get them back, you know. So it's going to be a feisty one, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully the guys are back to full strength. We'll find out more, I guess, later on in the week when I go and catch up with Coach K. But if we are back to full strength, I'm sure that'll be very. They'll be out there to get one back on them, that's for sure. Also this Friday, we are welcoming players from the Bristol Pitbulls ice hockey team down to the game. They're doing a team social up at the Flyers game. And in return, we're going to do a team social down at the Bristol Pitbulls game. So,
no, that'd be good.
Have you ever watched any ice hockey before, Corey?
I haven't, but I've downloaded the demos to NHL or NH, whatever it is, the hockey game, innit? And it was fun, innit? So
yeah, I used to play that when I was a kid as well, actually. When you could always start fights by pressing the select button or something.
Yeah, it's
just
mad.
mashing the triangle and punching them in the face.
Yeah.
me and Joe actually went to not the Pitbulls, but we went and saw Cardiff Devils fairly recently.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a fight that happened literally as far as this table is away from us. Like
really?
The biggest fight.
Yeah, but and the referees let it happen.
It's normal, isn't it?
They basically, if the gloves come off, the helmets come off, they fight until someone drops to a knee, and then as soon as someone drops to a knee, they separate them up and put them both in the sin bin for 5 minutes.
I'm so glad we don't have that in the BBL, bro. I'll be finished.
Yeah, I can think of a couple of games where it probably would have been.
I'll be toast. That's why I instigate and talk, because I know nothing's gonna happen to me.
Sam, should we get on to this week's Bristol Flyers word of the week?
The This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
All right, last week we introduced the wheel, which decided that I would have to say the word moist into the broadcast for Caledonia Gladiators. I think I nailed it this week, the word moist.
Well, I thought you had a little cop-out. I thought you had a tough one, but the way you did it was a bit too easy, I thought.
Yeah, I don't think, if you were watching and you didn't listen to the podcast, I don't think you'd even notice.
No.
Should we take a listen to how I managed to get that one in there?
Well, the moisture on the court has just been mopped up because the court was moist. And we are back underway. Sloan for three, splashes it.
There we go. The court was moist, and I said it was moist, and they cleaned it up. So
You said no one noticed, but they'd be like, why is he talking about the moisture like that? It's so weird.
well, I managed to sneak it in there. That was the word of the week for last week. So thank you, everyone, for sending in your suggestions. This week, we've got 2 games, so that means 2 words of the week. So we're going to spin the wheel to decide what word we get on Friday.
Yeah.
And we're going to let Corey decide which word we get on Sunday. So, Corey, have a little think about what word you want to put forward for word of the week. We do have Scat Gang already. I know you sent an Instagram message for the word Scat Gang to go in there. So that I can tell you that is on the wheel, which I will go fetch right now. Give me 2 seconds.
We've taken off the word moist, obviously. We've added a new one. What was the new? I can't even remember what the new word was. Oh, I don't remember what it was.
Caterpillar.
It was caterpillar. So we've got a new word on there, which is caterpillar. Joel is going to spin that wheel, and we're going to pick the first word for Friday.
So this is the one for Friday's game. Hang on. Let me just bring that over here a little bit more. Can we see it? There you can see it. There you can see it in all its... Oh, Sam just accidentally pushed a button on the soundboard there, so well done, Sam. Sam, shall we give the wheel a spin? This one's for Caledonia Gladiators on Friday. Whichever word this lands on will be this week's word of the week. Are you ready?
Yes.
That was great timing. Oh, no, it wasn't.
Oh. Annihilation! The word is annihilation this week.
Like that.
That'll be interesting.
You can't cheat on this one, mate. You got to get this one in.
I mean, the actual word annihilation is a tough word to fit in there, I think. I think annihilate is a good, easy one. Annihilation, I do think, is a much tougher word. So
we just need you guys to go out and win by 50 so he can say that was an
That'd be great.
absolute annihilation.
If we can bounce back with a nice 50-point win over Caledonia Gladiators, that will be a true annihilation.
Okay, Corey, we have another game on Sunday versus the Lions. Big matchup there. I saw Decker was playing last night again, actually. So Decker's out of injury. They had their European match.
I think Obi's back as well, so they should be up to full strength for Sunday's game, which makes it a even more exciting game because I'm looking forward to seeing those players at the Wise campus.
Yeah, so we need you to choose for us a word that Joel has to fit in on Sunday.
What do you think?
Well, since Scat's taken, I'm just going off inspiration. I see a word starting FL and what's that?
This one here,
Flabbergasted.
flabbergasted.
Yeah, obviously I can't pick that, but let's just go forget you.
Go with what?
Forget you.
Focaccia.
Yeah, do you know what that is?
What is focaccia?
You don't know what that is?
Focaccia.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, like the food.
Yeah.
Focaccia.
Like, no, focaccia.
Focaccia.
Yeah, it's like this, like rosemary, sea salt, delicious, like a
it's square
flatbread.
pizza.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
unreal.
Oh my goodness. I first of all need to go and Google this word, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to squeeze it in.
I don't know how on earth you're going to use that, but you're pretty creative, man. You'll figure it out.
All right, well, those are the 2 words of the week. We've got annihilation and we've got focaccia.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Corey, when we were making plans for this week's episode of the podcast, you dropped me a DM on WhatsApp and you said that the players were starting to pick up on some of the stuff we were saying on commentary during the Flyers games. And tell us more about that. What were they saying?
Well, it's like this running joke we got. Because you see when you commentate the games, like you got these little catchphrases. I don't know if you make them up before on the spot, but it's always like about a player's name, innit? It's just so funny. Like you'll say stuff like, my mind's gone blank. You say, oh, Corey Slam. You was like, you know what I mean? It's like the most like random stuff. But yeah, we just make them up and just do each other's names in it in like Joe style.
I can't take credit for that Corey Slamuels because that was purely Steve Devereaux, that one, and it went out on Instagram afterwards. But no, we have done a few, I think, little thingies. So you were saying that the players have come up with their own ones, have they?
Yeah, like we just make them up like pretty much every other day. Like it's pretty funny.
Well, I need to hear them.
Funny you asked that. I got them written down on my phone, actually. I want to hear you read them out, though, in your voice.
Okay, let's hear it.
Only you can do it justice, innit? But you have to do it as if it's like a game, innit?
Yeah, I'm down. And
then tell me you two tell me like the best ones.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to read them out here on Corey's phone. Oh, I love this one. So VJ King in transition, yeah? He goes up and he dunks it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, VJ King with the royal flush. That was going in.
That's got to go in.
But that's it. We actually did.
Have you done that one?
Well, I was going to call. Yeah, I'll read it out first and I'll see what we'll do. So, Brandon Mahan causing mayhem. I like it. But we were going to call him Brandon Mayhem.
Oh, just call him Brandon Mayhem just straight?
Yeah.
Okay, now fair.
So we're going to like Brandon Mayhem with 10 points in the first half, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Iceman Miller, the icy crossover.
Yeah, that's something. You got to put more. Come on, put the game day. You got to put the game day like voice on it. Come on now.
I'll go this one. Jelani Watson Hale. No, I said that wrong. I said it wrong.
He's butchering them.
I butchered it. Jelani Watson Gale, making it Hale.
That's not bad, right?
I don't know. I've got into a bad habit when Jelani scores of just saying his name like really loud. Jelani Watson Gale. I absolutely love it.
It's like a wrestler name.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good.
Love it. I've got a couple more here. Pasquale Landolfi, straight from Napoli. I don't know if that kind of rhymes too much.
It doesn't rhyme.
Napoli.
But like, this is what I'm thinking you say. Like he'll hit a free. And it's like a deep free, innit? Pasquale Landolfi, straight from Napoli.
Well, that one was from Napoli. That was good one.
We call him Pasquale the Land Dolphin. I don't know why I call him that.
The Land Dolphin.
Or we call him Landolf 3.
Yeah.
Choose a 3.
Yeah, that's a good Landolf 3.
Landolf 3. Last one, Leslie Smith making it swish.
Yeah, I like these, mate. These are good.
Right?
Love it. They're
not
awesome.
Bad. You can tell I've been spending too much time around Joe if I'm thinking of these things.
Yeah, you've been listening to the podcast a bit too much, I think.
Yeah.
Sam, shall we get to this week's questions from the mailbag? Oh.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Almost got that one wrong there. Just I'm still getting used to this soundboard. I'm not quite getting the hang of it. So we are slowly picking it up, but you have to bear with me these first few weeks of the podcast. Corey, let's get to some of these questions from the mailbag. We asked fans to send in their questions to you. We picked out the best ones. We're going to read them out to you right here on the podcast, and you're going to answer them for us. So, Sam, do you want to get to the first question?
Okay, so Sam Comley from the Bristol Flyers Supporters Club.
Good lad, Sam.
Good lad. He's a good lad. He asked on Twitter.
Think about that one.
Is he a good lad? Yes, he is. What do you think about the best flag in the BBL?
I saw that one. That's like the multi-flag what we got, right?
Yeah, so they actually came on the podcast at the start of the season.
I watched that,
And they have like a flag made up of loads of little flags. So each flag has the nationality of a player past or present that's played for the Flyers, and their ambition is to just grow the flag every season, and it just becomes this one massive flag made up of flags. And you can just imagine like a Wise campus wall just filled with flags.
All the that's the aim. Someone from every country in the whole world playing for the Flyers one day, right?
That'd be sick.
That would be sick.
That would be awesome. Next question. Janet Marks on Facebook wanted to know if you ever stop fizzing, and if so, how'd you like to relax?
If ever, okay. I was thinking, what?
If you ever stop buzzing, I guess.
How do I relax? I just watch like Netflix. Like that's pretty much my like wind down type thing. Even though there's nothing like good on Netflix right now.
Yeah, there isn't actually.
There's nothing really. All the series I watched, I started watching Line of Duty, then they took that off, and then I started watching on iPlayer. I realized I was watching it in like season 5. So then I went back to the start, and it's all like. It's like 3 pixels on the whole screen. It's like, I ain't watching this.
It's a good show, that Line of Duty. I've watched that. It's really good.
Not seen it.
Did you watch the Redeem Team documentary?
I did. I was disappointed, you know. I was actually not like... It was okay, but... You see, like, Last Dance, there was so much new things that we never heard of before. Like, the Redeem Team was like, you kind of know the story.
It's really hard because I think a big part of it was Kobe, wasn't it? And so, if he was still around, he would have added so much to that, but we only could use clips from... Years ago,
other
right?
stuff.
Yeah, that's good. I thought it was okay though. I thought it was a good documentary. I like the bit where he ran through Pau Gasol right at the start of that first game. He's like, I'm going straight through him, and then just smash.
You're gonna have to come up against players that you grew up with and you played in the same team, and then you're gonna have to run through them. Yeah.
That's it. Caledonia Gladiators, first play of the game. Corey Samuel's going to run through some of their players. I'm joking. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that, coach. Don't look at me, coach.
Scotty JC on Instagram asked, how much basketball do you watch, and how do you approach watching film? Like, are you watching a lot of BBL games and all the rest of it, you know?
Yeah, well, just like from like scout stuff, like we're always watching like stuff as a team and stuff. And then like obviously in my own time, like leading up to the games, I watched like that team's like previous games and stuff. But how I watch film, it kind of depends like what I'm watching. Like if I watch NBA stuff, I'm not really looking at like sets and stuff. Like I'm just looking at individual like players, like touch and different ways they get to shots and stuff. Like not that I'm gonna try half the stuff that they do in it, but I kind of pick out that stuff. But then if I'm watching like more like European stuff, or like I don't watch much European stuff, but when I'm watching like BBL stuff or whatever, then I'm looking at different actions and stuff, and different like ways that different people in my position like get stuff done type thing.
Are you like watching like on the weekend when Flyers aren't playing? Are you like putting on BBL on YouTube on a Friday night? Are you watching games live just for like entertainment, or are you always got your head on basketball when you're watching a basketball game?
I'm not watching it for. I mean, if there's like a game on TV and it's just on, then I might watch it. But I'm not the type to just like, I have to like keep up with the next game, innit? I like to switch up every now and again.
Yeah.
Stop myself from fizzing, if you know.
That's how I had to stop fizzing. Got a question here from a certain Malcolm Delpesh on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, let's hear this
He
one.
says, approximately how many bags of candy do you go through within a given week? I think he means sweets.
What is candy?
What is this candy you talk of? How many bags of sweets do you go through a week, Corey?
It's a good question. I'm toning it down now. But last year, especially say like we have like a free game like week in it with 2 Flyers and 2 uni ones. Like home games, I'll buy 2 packets of sweets. Like have one like on the bench, one like before or after the game type thing. Away games, I'll buy like 3. And then like in between games and stuff, like, you know, sometimes you just have that feeling like I need some sweets, like I need some pinballs or something. I'll just maybe get like a packet a day. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Like,
I'll tell you what, I walked in the dressing room the other day before I think it was a Caledonia game, and there's that big bucket, isn't there, of Harry? Is it Harry Bow that you got there?
Yeah. I'm glad they got that. Glad they put that in the budget. That's saving my pocket some money on the sweets.
He's there filling up his bag.
That's it. I'm taking this home with me. Put it in your pocket. What's your go-to sweet then? What's your are you like pick a mix? Are you like Mawams, or what's your go-to?
So the 2 go-tos is pinballs.
Yes.
Or squashies, but
yes.
the pink and green squashies. Them 2 right now is like the top 2 sweets.
Oh yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah.
I'm into those. I like the pinballs for away game day. If we're going away game, media table will always have Haribo pinballs.
Jealous.
Also Mawam pinballs.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
What did you say?
Haribo. Also,
This guy.
I know, right? What else am I into? The Sour Patch Kids.
Oh yeah.
They're
Those
good.
are my go-to for away games as well. Always try and get at least 1 packet of those for the media bench for away games.
Have you tried the watermelon Sour Patch things?
No.
Oh my gosh, those. I tried them like a 3 months in the summer. I was like, oh my gosh, these things are incredible. Someone told me about it. I was like, how good can they be in it? You think it just tastes like a Sour Patch Kid in the shape of watermelon, but nah.
Oh no, I think I have seen them.
They're good though. They're good.
They're awesome.
Okay, another question. Harry Padfield, friend of yours?
Yeah.
Okay, Harry Padfield wants to know: can you grow facial hair yet?
I'm so happy. Can we zoom in or something?
Well, you've got a little bit under there, like.
The lighting isn't doing it justice, but my chin strap is in, I wouldn't say full effect, maybe 70% effect.
Yeah.
My mustache is actually doing all right.
Yeah.
I got some beard hairs, like it's working.
So we've just entered November, so you wouldn't be doing anything for Movember this year, no? In terms of growing a mustache, no?
Yeah, no, I'll probably keep it at this level for the next 3 years. We'll see.
Got an interesting question from Callum McCullough, obviously used to play for the Flyers.
Yeah.
How does it feel being the new Mr. Bristol?
I mean, I'll never call myself Mr. Bristol. I mean, we're all Mr. Bristols at the end of the day. Everyone who wears the kit. So,
Yeah.
how does it feel now? It feels good though. I mean, it's cool. Like,
Yeah, I always
being
refer
around.
to Greg Street as being the OG Mr. Bristol.
Yeah, there's only one real Mr. Bristol in it.
Yeah.
That's Greg.
You want to go over this one here, Sam?
Yeah, okay, so Roy Owen, what a legend. We'll have to get him on as well at some point.
100%. Yeah.
Like a summer pod.
I need to reach out to him. I want to get him and Greg on together. That'd be awesome.
Greg and Roy, if you're listening, we'll get you on here at some
that
point.
would be crazy.
We want you.
Anyway, from Roy, do you prefer getting a bucket or getting an assist?
Great question, Ray.
This is why we need him on the pod, because he asks great questions.
All the hard-hitting questions.
Important stuff.
That's it.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, after the fact, like, the feeling of scoring a basket feels better than passing an assist. However, like, before, like, the play happens, I'm not fussed in it. Like, as long as the ball goes in at the end of the play.
Yeah.
But nah, that's a good question. Shout out Roy, man.
I got a question for you. What comes first, the bucket or the assist? Because the assist doesn't count until the bucket goes in.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna.
That's one to wrap
entertain
your
that.
head around.
I think about that one like,
That's
later
like a
on
chicken
today.
or the egg scenario.
Yeah, I know.
What comes first, the bucket or the assist? I love that. We got an interesting question here from Pasquale. Obviously, you spent one season in Italy.
Yeah.
He's asked, and he is Italian himself.
Mhm.
He has asked, what's your favourite dish from Messina?
My favorite dish. Do you know what? It's probably nothing like huge. Not like the pizzas or the pastas. Like, I don't even really like pasta, to be honest. But it's probably like the snacks, like arancini or like pedoni.
Yes.
Like them two things. Like, I used to come out of the weight room and like in the town and then just grab a quick arancini or pedoni and then get on the bus back. So yeah.
That was his sweets back then. It was an arancini.
Grace, now we got one more question, and this one's from Christian Hill. Obviously, one of our club volunteers. He asks, what part of your game... this one actually was a really big... we got loads of questions about this, so we had to like basically put all these into one question. But what part of your game would you work on more if you were 15, 16 years old again? And any advice for junior players coming up through the player pathway into the academy?
Good question.
I mean, if this is like just me at 15, 16, then definitely like my jump shot, like just making it like smooth and like confident like from back then, rather than like me working on it like these last couple of years. Yeah, that's a big thing, obviously, especially today's like basketball. And then what, any advice to anyone like around that age now?
Yeah, or just players coming up through the junior pathway that want to get a break or want to play professional basketball or want to play in the BBL for Bristol Flyers. Like, what advice would you give them?
I think just as early as possible, try to figure out like what you can do like better than 90% of like players in the club or that might come to the club or whatever. Like, figure out what you can do that's at a high level to them. And then also you got to think like it might be scoring right now, but what can you do at like the higher levels? Because like UE, I might like this year I've been actually scoring like alright, like pretty like decently like well for UE, but I'm not gonna do that in the BBL, so I'm not making that my identity. But defense, I personally think I can play like good defense and like hassle guys at like any level in it. So just pick something you think, a skill you have that can transcend different levels, and then run with that.
That's really good.
That's really good.
Christian also did ask who your favourite person at the club was, at the Bristol Flyers, but obviously the answer is me, isn't it?
Yes. It's you, Joel.
Yes, it is you, Joel.
No, that's very good. I think that's everything to get through in this week's episode of the podcast. Anything else to add, Sam?
No. Corey, you have been an absolute legend. We appreciate having you on the podcast. We'll get you on later on in the season as well at some point.
Oh, Corey's got one more thing to go through. Oh, we forgot to do one thing, Corey.
Come on,
Corey.
man.
Corey specifically messaged me at the start of the podcast. He wanted me to talk to him about his side hustle that he's got going on.
Oh, yeah. Go on, go for it.
So you actually also, and we meant to talk about this in the first segment, but I completely skipped over my notes. So unprofessional, isn't he? We were going to talk about your side hustle, which is vending machines. Is that right? Or vending products?
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, I like to think it transcends just a vending machine, but I guess it's essentially what I'm trying to do is create a bit of a platform for like different like Bristol like products, like snacks and drinks and stuff. So like if you got like a snack business or a drink business, then I could like stock your products in my machines and like get those in like different locations, but then too like do like other services. Like I'm trying to not limit myself. So whether it's like, that's like collecting data for those companies, or whether that's like getting them exposure into like different arenas, like working with the Flyers and stuff for those concession stands, and then obviously moving into Ashton Gate and all them things. There's like quite a lot of potential for it. But yeah, it's
That's awesome.
and I just got my first location in the books.
Oh yeah.
Going to a gym.
Which
Awesome.
gym?
So it's at remember Jordan Nichols' gym? Yeah, he's got his like gym
That's awesome.
and that gym's booming. So yeah, we just starting off there and then keep this thing climbing really. So
That's really good. So when we talk about the start, when Corey's like got spare time, what are you doing in your spare time? He has so much he's doing in his spare time alongside playing and studying and playing for UE. He's also starting his own business as well, so that's absolutely incredible.
That is great.
I think a couple of Bristol Bears players have something very similar. I was speaking to Carps, actually, Will Carps, who does my job at the Bears, and he was saying a couple of their players are doing something very similar. We should hook you up, Corey.
yeah, get them connections
Get
going,
you guys
man.
chatting. We'll have to do that 100%.
Nah, definitely.
Corey, thank you so much for joining us this week on the Bristol Flyers podcast. Don't forget, we are available on all major podcast providers, and we're on YouTube as well. So do leave a comment, do leave a rating, do leave a review. All those podcasty things, we really appreciate it if you could go and do that. And we'll be back with you same time right here on the Bristol Flyers podcast.